thank our audience for braving this beautiful summer weather and welcoming in chorus to open the festival. It's a very great privilege for us to be on our home ground in our own community because we are a community choir. When the night has come and the land is it all, everything. Die ho! Die ho! Yetu yetu ye mbinguni yetu yetu amina pa.
Check out our website for what's on each day. Tours, exhibitions, events, over 60 events this year. So I hope that you all enjoy the Peebles Arts Festival. I hope that we've got scissors now. We have got scissors. So could I ask this year's belting queen, Niamh Shanahan, to come forward. We'll all give her a big round of applause, please.
I declare the Peebles Arts Festival open!
Grab a hold of it. Take it over towards that way. Hammer. Head it down, the head down. Just go up on the genius. Now we'll stop that. And then push it this way.
Right behind me here, the traffic lights. In the ancient Greek, one of the translations of the word Peebles is town without traffic lights. And it was a point of pride in Peebles for nearly 3,000 years that this town had no traffic lights and that people crossed safely from one side of the high street to the other.
The sign would be then put around his neck. Which is pretty pointless really, because most of the people who are illiterate.
You can't take a tour of Peebles without visiting one of Peebles' great institutions. Forsyths. The Forsyths family arrived in Peebles in Neolithic times, and they started trading strips of dried antelope and bear meat for local goods. And they've been here ever since. It was Mr. Veach, in fact, started his business, as we can see from the little sign here, in 1884. He established his haberdashers and men's outfitters. What we can also see up here is that the building wasn't finished until 1885. And Mr. Veach, unfortunately, was the victim of local builder.
Peebles is complete, of course, without a visit to our golden postbox. This postbox was until very recently the traditional red, but was painted gold to celebrate the fact that one of the local builders finally completed his contract on time. This was an initiative which was set up by the Scottish Builders Federation and is nationwide, and it's been rolled out. So sadly there are none of these near the Parliament building in Edinburgh or anywhere near the tram tracks in Edinburgh as well. Yeah. Sign, madam. Shall I relieve you of it and pass that on to some?
Now, no tour of Peebles can be complete without coming to this location. This is a recent addition to the town, and it's known as the Stairway to Heaven. It was in the early 1970s that Robert Plant stepped out of church one day and out onto the early version of this walkway and made his way down here. And as he did so, he started humming a tune to himself, which in time became the great rock classic from Led Zeppelin. The walkway itself, this is the longest wheelchair ramp in the Northern Hemisphere.
Here we have it, the Chambers Dictionary.
And of course, when Chambers laid eyes on it, he realised poor old William Chambers was left with a large brick-like pile of dictionaries, completely useless. And he thought, what on earth am I going to do with them? And then he had an idea. And a year later, this building was opened. We've got A to G over here. We've got H to O over here. P in the corner.
Not necessarily.
30 years
30
the
years.
Arts Festival has been going, and it's like looking back over some of the old programmes, you know, in the box of the old programmes, and looking at what's been in the past and what we've done. Absolutely amazing. But I remember when I first came into Peebles in 91, 92, and working on Peebles High Street. And the two things that got me were the exhibition trail, and the other thing was the Busking Saturday.
This Busking Saturday is one of my favourites because just walking up and down the street, I walked up and down the street just handing out stickers, and I was giving stickers to little 5-year-olds who were sitting there playing their first tunes on their recorders and clarinets. And we've got semi-professional musicians out there with their keyboards and their guitars and their fiddles playing away as well.
Boys, look at you.
Right, I'm gonna do a big trick that not many people could do. I'm gonna make this watch.
Whoa! Whoa!
That is fun.
Excellent. Right. So what do you think of it? You think it looks very much like it?
Yeah, it's quite good.
Yeah, well done. Thank you. Great.
I'm Douglas Roberts, this is Henry Taylor, and between us we're going to tell you a little bit about this this chamber, what goes on in this chamber. This is the bell tower. This is as high as you can go.
This shaft here goes along here.
Turns once per hour, and that plugs into this beautiful piece of mechanism, which is called planetary gear. The way this works is that the narrow shaft goes into a pipe, goes through the pipe, out the front onto the minute hand. The pipe turns once per 12 hours, and that's connected to the hour hand.
The secret of the Cunsey Nuke will perhaps never be completely known. Maps that tell us. There are lost buildings here. Chambers Institute, before it became Queensberry House, was known as the Dean's House. The Dean in question, historians often think that it was connected to the Cross Kirk. I disagree. The Dean in question was the Dean of Old St Andrews, which was you could say, the big church in Peebles in the medieval time. This is the top of these buildings. That one to the right, before the modern monstrosity top was put in, and the one to the left. That house could go back to the late 18th century. And this whole street was a centre of the Weaver. This was a pub, the Old Red Lion. That would be its original termination. Yeah. There are remains underneath the old courthouse. It was a very liberal prison, judging by the chroniclers of the 19th century. Very liberal. Apparently the prisoners often quarrelled, had a row, and the jailer would threaten them. He would say, "Keep it this and you're out. You can get back to your homes." This is unbelievable, but they were threatened. That was the worst threat you could deliver to a local prisoner in Peebles. Stands a kirk in Peebles Toon. St Andrews is its name. And Ilkawan frae toon and lan, the saint's prayer he can claim. For it owns there 12 altars fair. You can see some of the altars in that picture. 12 altars fair, a provost and prebends too, and a choir of boys with tuneful voice, in plain sang good and true. St John and lusty Christopher, St Lawrence and St James. I declare myself fairly happy with what Chambers did. Otherwise, the tower could have been in a much worse state of ruin. You know, this was a Victorian. It was known as High Gate. Gate, G-A-I-T, was the old term for street or road anyway. And this was also known as High Gate, but it was the ecclesiastical High Gate. Those ancient Peebles stank, and it was mainly because of tanneries. They were everywhere. There's about 3 or 4 in the Northgate. Remnants of the town wall in that brick monstrosity you can see at the foot. Bits have been restored, bits have been restored. And essentially that's the town wall. The building, as you see it, goes back to the late 16th. But there was a building before the Cross Keys, which has long since disappeared, which was owned by the monastery of Arbroath. It was the hostelage of the monks of Arbroath. But that's going away back to the 13th century. The name of the earliest manager of the Cross Keys is known. He was a Peebles Burgess who was supposed to take care of the hostelage of the monks of Arbroath. And he was known as Gwilliam Macion. In modern terms, that's Willie McEwen. So the first manager of the premises was a man called Willie McEwen at the beginning of the 13th, or was it the 14th? He was responsible for providing the monks and their visitors with rushes, comfortable sleeping chambers, sanitation, and candles. That was a big thing then.
Expensive.
Parish candles, they were called. And they were prized, you know, big white candles. They were really prized by the ecclesiastical establishment. And so Willie McEwen had special responsibility for that. Anyway, folks, look, we're going to have to end here.